So, in today's episode, we're going to dive into what is a vlog and why we think they're making a resurgence, popularity, getting more popular again. Sounding good and loud. Good and loud.
Good morning.
Good morning, good evening, wherever you find yourself in life. Welcome back to Faith in Frames. Going to try, I don't know, maybe something a little different. A little different today, switching some things up.
A pivot, as some would call it.
Pivot. That reminds me of the Friends episode where Ross and crew are trying to move a recliner up a spiral staircase, and he keeps yelling, "Pivot."
Yes.
Pivot. I never really liked Friends, but that episode, certainly remembering at this moment.
I was going to say, I never jumped onto the Friends train full time. It was certainly more so like passive ambiance
Right.
in the TV there.
Yeah. My wife and her whole family can literally recite, like, essentially from pilot to closing episode. Yeah. That and Everybody Loves Raymond. They can
really
rattle it off. Yeah.
The only thing that's memorable to me from Everybody Loves Raymond is that opening bass line.
Yeah. In the
intro.
Well, they do it in like scene transitions too.
Yeah, they do it in scene transitions too. But the bass line, I'm a musician.
Right.
There are many bass players on like the TikToks and the YouTubes that will cover that specific intro.
Yeah.
It's quite difficult, actually.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Sounds kind of simple, or at least I would have thought simple. Shows what I know. Shows what I know. So today, I've got a cool topic that I want to dissect, and I think there may be a resurgence. Vlogging. Yeah.
Oh, this is fun because we talked about film kind of resurging on a few episodes ago.
Yeah.
Past couple episodes.
Which you may say, well, how can a vlog be a resurgence? Because, it's relatively new. Because it is video.
Right.
But I think, if I remember right, it had a peak and then sort of kind of dove off.
Yep.
And now I'm seeing that trend back upward, I believe.
I've also seen vlogging trend upward in my YouTube consumption and other platform consumption.
So we're going to chat about that. Talk about why we think it may be making a comeback. But first, let's thank our sponsor.
Sponsors for today's episode of Faith in Frames, none other than Animals West of Greenville, Tennessee. At Animals West, your pets are our passion. Our dedicated team offers personalized care, advanced treatments, and a warm, loving environment. Because at Animals West, every tale tells a story. Tony, Amanda, and the crew down on the Newport Highway, thank you for sponsoring this episode of Faith in Frames. Thank you for sponsoring these animals here at Motion Creative Media.
Every tale tells a tale.
Every tale tells a tale.
Hey,
I know you like the tuzz.
Let's just keep that thing going.
Meat and taters, Jared. Get us the meat and taters. You're talking about a vlog resurgence, and I'm sure there is somebody already asking themselves, what the heck is a vlog?
What is a vlog, right? Well, so I think it stems from blog, which was...
BLOG.
Which, also still very relevant.
Yes.
Go watch that episode with
Go
Bo.
watch Bo Bawab.
A vlog is literally a video log or catalog of events happening. Your day, your week. People do trips where they'll vlog the whole thing, and they'll do like a whole recap
Travel
of
vlogs.
it. Travel vlogs. That's a very big thing. I will call the VlogFather Casey Neistat.
Oh, yeah, the king.
Casey Neistat is the king. If you spent any amount of time on YouTube, you've probably seen his thumbnail, seen his video, seen his face. Maybe didn't even know it was Casey, but Casey got really big into vlogs because of his power of storytelling. Casey is very, very good at that. But go watch some of his old vlogs. Like I said, vlogs really rose. Heck, I even wanted to start one. Ended up not.
I think there's some secret like Montana footage in one of your vaults that as
Yeah.
possible vlog content.
Well, so that was
Possibly, it's a rumor.
I
but,
truly was inspired. Vlogs were at what I'll call the height of their popularity. And yeah, I bought a 6D Mark II. And
That's a camera, by the way.
Said that I'm going to be a vlogger.
Yes.
My first stint with it was this Montana trip that my wife and I took for our anniversary. And yeah, that footage is sitting on a hard drive because I didn't like what I put together, and I didn't have the desire to continue putting it together. So there it sits.
I think it could have been powerful. I do know, going back to Casey, the king of vlogging, the VlogFather, as you've dubbed him. Casey was so good at it and got so recognized for it that even like the NYPD, Casey lived in New York.
Yeah,
the NYPD, like they were on a first name basis, loved him. Dude was so popular that just passerbys would see him going by on his longboard and holler out to him. Like Casey was the vlogger of vloggers.
He scooted around the streets and the sidewalks of New York on a boosted board. Yeah, which some people may not even know what a boosted board is.
It's an electric longboard.
Because one wheel, all these things, but boosted board used to be the thing.
It's an e-board.
And that boy got around on it. I even always enjoyed his interactions with the UPS guy.
Oh yeah.
Like through his vlogs, I felt like I had
you were connected with these people.
Yeah, some sort of relationship with the UPS guy. Marlon, I believe his guy's name was. So yeah, all these things. Vlogs are really cool. I think they're making a comeback though, because of people's desire to feel connected to something authentic.
Yeah. Well, and I think with like, we'll just keep, on the example of Casey. Casey's relationship with his UPS driver went beyond just YouTuber and UPS driver. Yeah. Like they started knowing each other on a human level. Obviously, Casey was getting packages left and right from brands, from fans, from everywhere. So these guys saw each other on the regular. Eventually, there's going to be a conversation come up like, what the heck do you do? Yeah. Why am I sending all these boxes to you? Sure. So we started to see their relationship kind of blossom. They started knowing each other as people. Same thing with the NYPD and some of the other people that Casey interacted with, throughout the history of his vlog. And he still has, his YouTube channel. He's just toned it back a bit because he was doing like almost weekly and daily vlogs at times. Yeah. He really ramped it up. But I think to your first point, why they are making a comeback, people are longing for that story again and for those personal connections that we got to see people like Casey harbor. And we got to feel like we were a part of it.
Well, it was authentic. Like I really felt like through watching Casey's vlogs, had I ever met the guy in person, I truly felt like I could hold a meaningful conversation with him. Yeah. Like I felt like I knew him to a degree. So the connection, the literal connection that you're able to harbor through social media, because with all the bad things of social media and,
certainly a lot of those,
there's a plethora of those, but like, the good thing about social media, if done properly, you really can harbor a connection and foster a relationship with someone that you've never seen before.
Yeah, so long as you're willing to be open. I mean, and I think that's the thing with Casey and other vloggers that are good at it, is he was willing to be open about even the bad that was going on in his life. Yeah. We got to watch him through a cross-country move from New York to California. I think now he's back in New York, possibly.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, him and Candace. And again, we know his wife. We know his wife, Candace, because he was willing to open up, and she was willing to open up and be a part of it too. So, you have to open up a little bit, in order to get it to be a I'm going to say a positive thing,
for sure,
and an authentic thing.
Yeah, like I said, I'm seeing a resurgence of it, and I definitely think the authenticity, the relationship, the connection that takes place with some of these more, not necessarily private moments, but moments that most people normally won't see through your day, right? Like you're letting someone in on part of your life, and people are taking note of it. They really appreciate that. I think a lot of that has to do with the combination of like AI. Yeah. But also there was a shift, and one of the things that I think kind of maybe started the downturn of vlogs being really popular on, say, YouTube was
TikTok.
Well, TikTok,
Short content.
form, your retention editing,
Reels.
the Mr. Beasts of the world,
People started turning their cameras vertically.
Well, that's just not right. Listen,
That's not right.
I'll make video horizontal again, right?
We need those hats.
I need that hat,
Yeah.
and the reason why is because good Lord give you two eyes side by side.
Not this way.
You see the world horizontally,
you
right?
do.
This is just the way the Lord literally intended it to be.
When God designed the Canon 6D Mark II, He designed it with that in mind.
Well, we're so mean in your eyes optically, all those
Or the
things.
Japanese guy that got inspired to design the Canon 6D Mark II.
So, retention editing, like your Mr. Beast, you've heard of Mr. Beast. It's very, 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 very fast paced, right?
Yeah, there's a cut every 1.5 seconds.
It's kind of like the cocoa melons of the world, right?
Yeah.
You literally kind of get
sucked in,
hypnotized by it.
Yeah.
I really think people are getting fatigued from that, though.
They are.
Retention-based
editing is a tiring, subconscious way to consume content.
Long term. Like I said, Mr. Beast built his whole channel essentially off of it and the lavish things.
But even Mr. Beast is kind of reverting.
He is.
He's reverting back to the old ways.
Because people are literally getting tired of it. For a bit, it was cool and it was nice, the dopamine hit, all of these things. But I really think fatigue starts to set in over time. It's like, you know what? This is tiring.
Well, the thing that I always look at, and not to bash this industry, but to me, retention-based editing is no different than we're dealing, commercials like that.
Yeah.
To where
they're very in your face.
They're very in your face. They're very like fire hose information on the upfront, and then we're finally going to get to the point. But a lot of people now, and I've even noticed this on YouTube, like the big YouTubers that we've grown up following. I say grown up on YouTube with following. Take Peter McKinnon, take Maddie, take a lot of your bigger guys. They used to do these like 25-second like lavish intros. Yeah, B-roll montages, intros to just suck you in and make you want to be a part of that brand. And then they stopped doing that.
Yeah.
Because people would just skip through that. I would start skipping through that because Pete, I've seen your intro now for the past 30 videos. I know the clips are in there. I can probably recite them.
Yeah.
Or I can mimic them, but
you're going to finish your 2-minute Tuesday montage with that snow kick on top of the mountain.
Exactly.
Shot with a 1DX Mark II. Yes. I remember it all.
Yes, exactly. So people got tired of that because they just want to kind of just sit down and talk to you.
Yeah.
They don't want you to run up, scream in their face, and then walk away.
Well, I think a lot of it, too, depends on – I think a lot of it is not really dependent upon, but I think one of the reasons why that style of editing is so tiring and that style of consumption is tiring overall is you think about a normal person's day. They wake up, probably go to work. They've got family. They took kids to school, all these things, pick kids up, work's finished. Now you're at home. So like the time when you have to consume something that you want to consume.
You kind of want to relax.
You probably don't want to have to really focus and all of these things that kind of has to take place with these retention editing things. It is tiring, right? It's not a good end to your day in a lot of cases,
I think too, it's something that is not even natural within your day. If you think about if we compare retention based editing, which is essentially fire hose somebody with a hook, get them hooked in within the first 1.5 seconds, then you got to cut to something else. Yep. Most people don't live their day to day like that, unless you're working in like Jordan Belfort's Wolf of Wall Street, where he's having his team meeting and they're throwing midgets.
Yeah, but even if you've spent your whole day at that fast pace,
you don't want it. But
you want to come home to that?
That's what I'm saying. You don't want to come home to that. But most people don't live their day like that. They're not going into work and their boss saying, here's what we're going to do in the next 8.5 hours.
Yep.
Like that just doesn't happen.
Not the case.
Not the case. So people, it's not natural to them. But because of short form content and because of attention spans getting shorter, we'll call it as it is. We're certainly degrading as an attention span.
Sure.
Civilization goes. But people are still tired nonetheless. And so I think there's a big resurgence in vlogs because people are kind of longing for that again.
Yeah. Well, so I also just don't feel as connected. Even like take a Mr. Beast, for example, right? I don't feel as connected to him, the person, as I did Casey. with his vlogs, or Pete when he was big into vlogging, or Maddie, any of those people. Like, I
Right.
literally felt as though I knew something about that person
Because we did.
because we did. Whereas, like with the others, I get a feel for maybe this personality that they're showing
Yeah.
me, but like you're not seeing any of those slow moments.
And a
You're
lot of
not-
those are based more on shock value. Like
Yeah.
that's where he made his living, was shock value.
Sure.
The things that he did were extravagant, way out there, dumb in a lot of cases. Like
Yeah.
that's where he gained his following and did it in a great way. But no, I don't know Mr. Beast. I know his first name's Jimmy.
So I didn't even know that.
Yeah, his first name's Jimmy. And I've seen a few things about him that I'm like, okay, he is a real guy.
Yeah.
But as far as his videos through the years, no, he's gaining following based on shock value.
Yeah.
Which that's fine. Yeah,
Right.
if that's your play, obviously he's played it better than anyone that's ever done it.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think that a lot of people can A, imitate that, but B, on the consumer side, I think it's tiring.
It is tiring. I mean, I think statistically, I'll probably butcher this, but I'll be close.
Mm-hmm.
You'll get the point. I believe someone did a study of like 100 of his videos, and there truly is a scene cut, a video clip cut, less than 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Like
Well, that's why I keep saying 1.5. It's from that statistic.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so that means the camera is not rolling in this facet for more than a second and a half.
Right.
That, again, visually is just tiring.
very
Like
tiring.
your eyes having to refocus, your eyes having to do something. It's making these adjustments on the fly. You don't realize it, but it physically is tiring. Do that for a couple years from a consumption side, and yeah, you're just ready for something a little slower.
Yeah.
So
Well, even on the editing side, I mean, it's quite the undertaking on the editor to continue to keep that pace up.
Oh, absolutely. Throwing graphics in, all these things, where vlogs are,
They're real.
yeah, they're the dang near opposite.
Yeah, they're
of,
real.
of retention editing. And so, like, specifically, I think a vlog is no different than like BTS footage.
Yeah.
I mean, that really is.
Most
it is
time
a
BTS footage is vlogs.
scenes look at your life, this part of this process that you do, whatever. It is a behind the scenes look, and it's behind the scenes because nobody else ever normally gets to see this.
Right.
So you're letting other people see this segment of your life. And I think people really, really, really enjoy that. I personally have always enjoyed BTS footage, even before YouTube.
Yeah.
Like back when movies were a thing. Well, back when movies were a thing of like, okay, you saw previews for 6 months, then it finally hit theaters. A few months later, you may see like a director's cut or some like BTS behind the scenes look of like how they did this. And I wasn't interested as I am now in like some of the technical things.
Yeah.
But I truly just enjoyed seeing, oh, well, the set looked cool. You know,
I was going to say, like, as a kid, the ones that come to mind immediately are like all the Pixar behind the scenes from like the studios where they're back then doing, animation on a
you're seeing
on a
the
Windows
rough
1.
cuts of these animations.
And the Muppets. The Muppets BTS was always good.
I really enjoyed seeing those things that I knew were, I don't know, more real, right? Because a finished movie, that's went through several rounds of editing, right? Things have been cut.
They're polished.
Yeah, they're
It's
very
polished.
polished, right? It is a finished piece. And I'm not saying that there aren't imperfections, because there
Right.
are, but by and large, like the goal was
finished.
a perfect piece, right? It's a finished piece. I think people really enjoy the authenticity and the rawness.
Well, and they enjoy the process. I mean, I think the example that I'll use, literally, there's a whole TV show, how it's made.
Yeah.
On literally how things are made that we see every single day. People are so invested in the process. They love the product.
Yeah.
They love the
That's
product
cool.
because they use it. It's useful.
Helpful.
Yeah, utilitarian, whatever. But people love the process.
Yeah.
And that's what BTS is. I think one of my favorite, and I can see this vividly in my mind, there is a simple, quote, quote, simple shot in Forrest Gump of Tom Hanks just sitting on the bench. We all know it. It's iconic, of Forrest just sitting on the bench. Have you seen the behind the scenes of that one shot?
No. I know it happened in Savannah, Georgia, because I've sat there.
They have like 5 cameras on him. They have like 17 pieces of fabric and all these big gigantic frames
For diffusion.
and bouncing light back onto him for that one simple shot of Tom Hanks sitting on the bench.
Wow.
I'll have to pull that graphic for you one day.
Yeah.
But when I saw that, I was like, this is so interesting that simplicity came out of that complexity.
Right.
Now, did they have to do all that? Probably not.
No.
Did they want to? Yeah.
But they did. The fact is, that's how it was done.
That's how it was
now
done.
somebody's privy to it because
Bingo.
somebody dissected
Bingo.
it and broke it down.
On the inverse of that, a more recent example, Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan's new movie.
Yeah.
There's a lot of scenes from Oppenheimer where Hoyt Van, whatever his name is, the big cinematographer that Chris uses, most of his stuff is shot on the shoulder, very little diffusion, extra lighting, whatever. He's very naturalistic in the way that he shoots things. But seeing that difference in processes is so interesting to me.
Yeah.
And that's literally what a vlog is. We're getting to see the behind the scenes of Jared's day.
Yeah.
Of Casey Neistat's day, of whoever, insert name here.
I think BTS traditionally just does a great job, truly, of just showing the human side. Because again, if you're thinking about just movies, because that was my exposure to behind the scenes was movies, right?
Well, that's all we had back in the day.
It's all we had. So it's like you see the finished piece, which was a product. It was the culmination of several dollars and minds and efforts and hours and all these things. But you see at that point, you see a snapshot. You see, oh no, that's the person holding the camera.
Mm-hmm.
That's the person holding the boom mic. Like you get a sense for the humanity side of what human involvement went into making that Forrest Gump bench shot.
Yeah, and it gives me a whole new appreciation for it.
Yeah.
Again, it's like because I can see all that, I'm like, wow, they did all that for this one shot. And this one shot turned out to be iconic.
Another one, I mean, honestly, I would lump in Dirty Jobs.
Yeah.
Now, obviously,
the
episode you see has been polished and cut, but
it's pretty much a vlog.
At the end of the day, what is it? It's a vlog. Shining light on a process that you probably didn't even realize existed,
or you might have had a pretty bad taste for.
So it's like, okay, that is again it's a good professional way for someone to kind of wrap their head around a vlog if they're kind of still in the dark on what a vlog actually is.
Well, and what Mike Rowe was able to do with Dirty Jobs essentially is shining light, and that's all you're doing with the vlog is you're shining light. But he was able to do it on less than preferable occupations and industries.
Dirty jobs.
Which I think is great. I think most recently, one thing that you've done, like with the construction entity and industry, is you're shining light on blue collar workers because typically that's a line that's kind of forgotten about. Like we all drive on roads every single day.
Sure.
We don't think about how they got there. They're just there.
Yeah.
Most people don't think about how they got there. So you did a great job of shining light on even that industry, but Mike did it in the daily by getting down in the trenches with them.
Literal trenches in most cases.
Literal trenches, covered in poo, covered in whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But we were able to see that because he brought a camera crew along with him and essentially did a TV vlog.
Yeah, it's shedding light on
many seasons,
a process, a person, or whatever. That's what a vlog is. And again, I'm seeing a resurgence. One channel specifically. I'm not current on her subscribers, but I know she has blown up. Life of Riza.
Oh, yeah, Riza. I think she's about 500,000 now.
Really?
Pretty close. Let me pull it. I actually am going to pull that so our audience knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, Life of Riza. She's very simple videos, but they're very calming.
Yeah. It is. Most of her videos are just her in her apartment or whatever.
She did meet up with her boyfriend in a recent episode. 614K.
Subscribers?
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
614,000. And she's not a very old channel. She started last year.
I was about to say, it's a pretty new channel even.
Yeah, she started last year.
Scheme of things.
She has massive brand deals with like Nan Light already. I mean, she's doing the vlog thing right.
Yeah. Now, she's doing it in a very beautiful cinematic sense even.
Right. It's very polished.
You don't have to do that even. Like that's one way of doing it.
Yeah.
Obviously, she has a background in it or something, and that's the reason why she desires to do it that way. But the point is like she's built a channel off of, I'll essentially call it a vlog.
It is a vlog.
It's mundane things. It's her everyday life. It's hanging a picture frame. It's whatever. But it's storytelling, right?
What I was going to say, her and others like her are just that. They're storytellers.
Yeah.
No different than Casey was back in the day. Casey still is a great storyteller. That's another attractive point for me for a vlog and why I believe they are making a resurgence, because you don't get a lot of story right now with AI. You don't get a lot of story with all of these different technological advances that
No.
we have. There's no human element
Yep.
within these things. And people, again, are trying to attach back to, I mean, our roots as a human species rely on storytelling,
Yeah.
on history, on how we're able to convey information.
Sure.
And when that's taken away,
Right.
I think people long for it again. And in a sense, whenever we went through the dip where vlogs kind of went away because of retention-based editing, because of short attention spans, I think people are just kind of in limbo at that point in time. Like, golly, I don't know what I'm missing,
Right.
but I think I kind of want to see these stories again.
Right.
You know?
I think you want to see these stories again because if you're, I'll call it a 90s kid or later,
Mhm.
even earlier, a 90s kid or earlier, that
Yeah.
I went the wrong way there. 90s kid or earlier, you're going to remember home videos.
Oh yeah.
I'm
yeah.
talking the shakiest of
Oh,
footage.
yeah. Shot on the Magnavox shoulder cam.
Whatever.
Shout out Ben Ware.
But when you sit down
Mm-hmm.
and watch those memories, because that's what it is. It's a memory.
Oof.
It's cataloging.
Yes. It's nostalgia.
This beach trip that you rented this whatever camera because
Mm-hmm.
maybe people didn't own them, whatever. I know several families rented video cameras periodically to literally make this capsule
Yep.
of a memory. That's what this can be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it is. But when you sit back and you watch those, even if it's not even your family, like I've sat back and watched my wife's home movie clips and I'm like, dude, that's really cool.
Well, it's nostalgia.
It's nostalgia, right? It literally is documenting a moment. Very mundane things. I mean, seriously, they had one where they rented one and they took it on a trip to Hawaii. Cinematically, dude, horrible.
Right.
Shaky footage. Half the stuff's not in focus, like all of these things. But that doesn't matter. You're watching this playback.
Yeah.
And the memories.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's why I think vlogging initially took off was from a nostalgia perspective, the story perspective, the connection. But I definitely think that's the reason why it has made a comeback.
It has, and I think with nostalgia, and I've actually made this point on a couple of recent posts of mine. So nostalgia for me, and I actually got this idea from another YouTuber, and it's a beautiful explanation of it. You know, nostalgia for me is a way to appreciate the past while still living in the present. I think that's something that with like home videos, the reason they are so attractive is, yeah, in the past, nobody was worried about, is this video cinematic? If you look now, like on TikTok, there's a lot of people bringing back like old footage from high school back in the 90s or high school back in the early 2000s. Nobody took it seriously.
No.
We weren't worried about being polished or having retention-based editing or hooking somebody in the first 1 second. It was literally a capsule, and it was just humans being humans, being idiots on camera.
Right.
That's the reason those are so attractive, but we're able to appreciate those things
while
still appreciating the present too. There's certainly great things that have come from technological advances, you know, even from retention-based editing. You know, it's helped grow a lot of good platforms, but it's so cool to look back and appreciate those moments in time that we were able to capture just by being raw and being real.
Just by hitting record.
Yeah, just by hitting record, not worrying about, oh gosh, is this end product going to attract my next brand deal?
Yeah.
You know,
I think there's an importance there. Like I would even encourage you, actually, I know somebody here at this church who vlogs all of the time, but this person never posts any of the clips. But this person literally has a catalog of history, memories, times in her life, all of these things.
Do we need to call this person out?
I'm not going to do that.
I'm just
I'll let her. I'll let her be anonymous. But
kidding.
Vlogging can mean a lot of different things to a lot of people.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to live on YouTube. You may not have to, have aspirations of getting 1 million subs. Any of these things. Another entity that we spoke to the other day, it was a business owner. They said they have a lot of private YouTube videos.
Yep.
A whole library of their grandkids, all of these things. And what that means is like, you can't search and find this file on YouTube.
But I've got it.
But it's historically cataloged. It's preserved. This memory is here.